We've made a couple of updates to our Model 560 projector lamp. We've added a couple of new patterns based on customer and some of our sales guys' requests. We now have added a pedestrian warning, which I'm looking inside. If you look inside the thing, you can actually see what image it is, and this is it. It's got the big red stripe with the pedestrian walking across the street in white. So still a two-color. This one's white and red for the non-pedestrian crossing, and then we've also added another one, which is, if I look at it correctly, the universal warning, which we now have in red and blue. Blue ones tend to carry along with it the photobiological warning sticker for laser, which basically means don't look at it within 9 inches. But that's pretty typical for our blue spots on the fork trucks. Again, designed as another just version with a different shield and different color LED for a more universal warning. I think Robert's had pretty good luck with some of the construction equipment, roadway equipment with the universal warnings. The crosswalk or the no pedestrian crossing is one that people have asked for crosswalks. As obviously we've got the red and blue for the forklift projection. But again, the main point here is the images can be easily changed by the shield as well as the LED color. We have 2 to work with. Greg and I have been talking to a couple of customers who've asked about potentially doing 2 different colors and 2 different images, right? We do have 3 wires. Currently, one is for power, one for ground, and one for your mode selection like our strobes, so you can get different flash patterns. And alternating flashes, but we've been actually talking to a couple customers who've asked about possibly doing a green for it's okay to enter the tram and a red with a line in a different shape as a no. The challenge is you lose half the intensity because we're using half the power. The other one in that particular application we've been talking to the customer is just the size of the lamp. It's a little large. It's far smaller than your standard projection images you see people using like in malls or restaurants, which are also very common. But to get anything a little bit smaller, we're playing between the 560 and the 793 red stripe as a possibility. But again, the main message is different colors are possible. The image can be changed by changing the stainless shield, and that optical system, basically the PC board, the lens, and the shield is all assembled in our SMT department coming through just as part of the PC board production. So it helps keep our cost in line. This does drop in right in the exact mounting location as like a blue spot would if you've got an existing fork truck, so it's an easy retrofit. It's just a little steeper in price than the blue spot. So,
one of the things I've noticed is we've gotten competitive samples from other companies that are making projector lights, and you'll see them at trade shows. People say, wow, it's a cool image, it's crisp, but what I've noticed is the intensity of this. So like in our warehouse, I've tested different competitive samples against this. And once you get next to a window on a sunny day, you can't see those projector lamps. They fade out. These can be seen in low, overcast conditions. So there's a lot more intensity to this. So that's a big advantage to sell against the projector lights. Also, as you mentioned, those projector lights are huge because they need this focal length to project that image down onto the ground. So compact and more intense for more applications other than indoors and low lit situations.
yeah, and what Greg was saying too on the interior, one of the things if you know if our blue spot as you change the focal length, if you are not mounted on a fork truck, meaning 2 meters up and angled 3 meters out, you aren't going to see that blue spot tends to get fuzzy as you change the focal length. The one thing that's kind of unique with the way that the R&D guys designed the optical system, as I mentioned, it's on the PC board. It's not as susceptible to playing with the different angles. You can actually shoot this thing from a 2 to 3 meter high factory ceiling onto the floor and get a nice crisp image, as well as mount on a fork truck 2 meters up and then angled 3 meters out. So the image itself is not nearly as susceptible to the focal length as like our blue spot or those who remember our old blue arrow, red arrow. Those, if you didn't have them aimed just right, they got real fuzzy. This will hold the image pretty darn well over a pretty wide range of angles. So besides the forklift, mining, construction, roadway equipment like we've been talking about, other applications we've had people look at is over factory doorways, right? Or walking out into a factory, or we've got a customer here in Wisconsin that uses for the roll-up factory doors, they use the red stripe. They're actually looking at doing a unique image for those. One of the main injuries at car dealerships around the world is the overhead doors coming down on the customer who's playing around on their phone as they're walking around. So some kind of a warning or projection image is beyond just the vehicles are a lot of cases where we're seeing applications for this stuff.
Even areas that was mentioned, like if you have like an interior crane or something that's moving around, the light can follow the crane and let you know this is where it's going to come down. There's all types of industrial applications for this, but the key thing is every facility needs more safety because every incident costs them lots of money. And if there is any issue with price on this, it's way cheaper than a lawsuit or medical bills for someone in your facility.